Hello everyone, this is Mr. Larryman, and today I will be casting the second semifinals game of the winner's bracket for the Rise of the Witch King Winter Tournament. This game will be between the EU team and the Throwby team, also just the premier North American team. Let's see what we have in store for us today. This is the first game of the match. We have the Throwby team on Evil. Oops. Player vision. We have the Throwby team on Evil and the EU team on Good. We have Exodus on Amar, Explosive on Evil Men, and Gun and Fire on Misty Mountains. As we can actually see, looks like just a single on Loft. It looks like Kabul is going to go down a little bit of HP as well as Morgamir. And Oni-chan has recalled in to defend, so that was not actually a double. It looks like it was just Exodus going in on Lothlorien because Explosive is down to South, actually going for Laha. Very quickly, going over the good players, we have Kexelis, also known as Drake, on Arthedain. We have Jolo, also known as Imelborn, on Cardalin. We have Wilmer, also known as The Man, on Elves, and we have Oni-chan on Western Gondor. It looks like this push on Amon Laha is going to go uncontested. Explosive doing pretty good work with only heroes just stripping down the spawn, using his fortified position there to tank a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, Oni-chan is just camping Lothlorien. It looks like Exodus is pinning Oni-chan down here so that Explosive can go for Laha. But it looks like Oni-chan is going to rotate out and trade places with Kex as he arrives. It looks like Kex's rotational arb was a tiny bit late here, but nonetheless, Kex can now take over defending Lothlorien and allow Oni-chan to defend Laha. But it looks like it is a bit too late. Laha's outer cannons have been stripped, so that allows Oni-chan to not really do much, and Explosive is just here sitting with Moot Lord, finishing off the spawn. Now, Amon Laha is a bit of a uncommon early strip for Evil Men, so one wonders if this will actually be a Eastern Encampment game. I was not expecting this when I came into this game, considering that this is a pretty high skill level lobby, so an Easterly Encampment play would be able to be punished. It is well known that Eastern Encampment isn't really that viable against competent players. So let's just see if this was a opportunistic money grab, or if they're actually going for some type of East build. Again, Exodus going in on Lothlorien, just staying in the area. Meanwhile, Trollshaws does go down a 3-minute 15-second kill, very respectable, and without a lot of lost HP on heroes. Most of them are only yellow or orange. Meanwhile, the man comes into the north, strips out, I believe, the 3 cannons here, the 2 cannons here, and the 2 cannons here, to open up the northern clear of Enedwife. So that was what Wilmer was doing while he was free. Meanwhile, with Gunnet here, it looks like he has gone for a few of the cannons on the outside of Elven King's Halls, but has actually rotated over to Arthedain. First gases come in. We have Fornos gas and Cause of Doom gas. It looks like Wilmer is not actually going to go for Mithril, so if this does end up being a East game and Moria does go up, then Evil will be in for a little bit of a disappointment. Maybe Wilmer will get Mithril at the end, though. Maybe he's just actually rushing to Elite and is going to get Mithril later. We'll just kind of have to see there. Barrow Downs is being gassed for Cardalin and Eric for Western Gondor. It looks like Exodus and Explosive are going in for a double, and it looks like the ARB is completely exposed. And Exodus, although going for a rather slow snipe of the ARB, still gets it. It looks like Jolo did not actually respond in time. This means Jolo's singular ARB is going to be stretched very thin across the very, very long Cardalin underbelly. Meanwhile, in the north, Kex is just going for a few easy strips on the bottom cannons there on Carndoom. Meanwhile, Gun and Fire is going to actually take out E-Halls for basically free. So overall, a few minor mistakes for Good there, although maybe I shouldn't call that ARB loss a minor mistake, because that was kind of huge, especially in a high skill tier lobby. I would say that in high skill level lobbies, losing an ARB is arguably worse than actually losing the hero in most cases. Meanwhile, in the north, we can see that Gunna is again just going up to take down North Downs. It looks like Hex is not going to respond here, so these northern cannons on North Downs are just going to go for free. Meanwhile, Wilmer is attacking Endedwife with Jololol, but it looks like Exodus has recalled in to punish him. He goes for Celeborn instead of Franduel, so it looks like no hero losses are going to happen for Elves. I'm not really sure if Franduel would have died if he was targeted. After all, we did see the Celeborn blink, and he still only escaped with half the HP. Meanwhile, in the south, again, we see Western Rudar. Actually, not again, it's the first push on this game. But we see Western Rudar being attacked by Exodus. Kex and Wilmer come in to defend, so Exodus will be chased off for now. Meanwhile, Exodus signals to his team that he is going down to Minhiriaf again. Jololol's Arb is in the east, and there are no actually allied Arbs covering the area, so this looks like a completely free clear. Meanwhile, Minigar actually dies to Evil Min here, so Jololol is down an Arb and a hero at this point. His main sieging hero, mind you. So this is a pretty crippled Carlin already. Meanwhile, Carlin is about to be even more crippled as Minhiriaf is about to go down to Exodus. There's nobody here to respond in time. Wilmer comes in for a late response. It looks like Exodus maybe not getting as much progress as he may have liked, as he is forced to recall. Right here, we can see that Haldir was actually bought for the man. A pretty squishy demi-hero, but with a nicely long range and a nice aura, and for a very cheap price. Kexlis actually choosing to clear the outer canvas of Karn Doom instead of going for the speed clear. Probably the right move in this case, as speed clearing can be kind of punished if Amar starts to camp the spawn. Since then, Good will have had no actual progress on the front of the spawn, while their progress in the back would have just been kind of negated. As we can see here from the Evil team chat, they're going for a 3 push on Western Gondor very soon. If we look at the R positioning, we can see that actually Elves isn't even close enough to go to move over when the Western Gondor double happens. Now, Kex is here, and again, we can see that Haldir does go down into North to gun fire. It looks like he was just a little bit too squishy. That's kind of the danger with Haldir, and it looks like we didn't get to see that, but maybe it was a mispositioning. Maybe it was just a bad reaction time. I'm not really sure how that happened, but Haldir does go down to North. Meanwhile, Explosive is going down and going for Lothlorien. Kex very, very quick on the responses, but meanwhile, Gunfire and Exodus have actually arrived in Western Gondor, and there's nobody there to defend it. Kex's Arb is the closest one, and he is floating it down to Gondor. Onishan just trying to desperately try and stall down Exodus's push, make sure that he does not lose Pen of Galen as fast as he otherwise would, waiting for Kexilus to get down here. Exodus does recall, and over to Plains, actually. His special transport was resting my apologies, at the Plains instead of Karn Doom, so it looks like a little bit of lost momentum there. Kexilus would not have gotten there for another good 20 seconds or so. He's now resting his Arb in Agrelond. It might have been just left Nui for the money. I'm not sure why Exodus went early, especially since he's just sitting at Plains. Where is Exodus right now? It's because he was actually trying to conserve strength to go for a rotation onto Tharbad. It looks like Jolol is going to fund Arfadang all of his money. Now remember that I believe the good team, the EU team, is actually using voice chat, so we won't be able to see much of their actual team communication like we are seeing with the Evil team, which tends to be all typers. Except Explosive, of course. It looks like Kex and Wilmer are going in for a double on Karn Doom, and Exodus storing his Arb at Plains is going to have a bit of a delayed response here. Meanwhile, Minhiriaf, Minhiriaf does go down in that time. It looks like Jololol is not able to defend against Explosive, but at the same time, actually no, Central Camp is still alive, so this EM at the 12-minute mark is relatively more untouched than most games. It looks like only Trollshaws is dead. Now granted, Central might be going, it looks like a bit of a slow reaction there. Huntmaster goes down, and Oster actually also goes down, so that's a completely hero-wide Carlin. Yeah, only 2 medics left for Carlin. That's a pretty rough loss. So far, Evil has not actually lost anything of significance, too. Looks like Joel got a little bit greedy trying to finish off Central Camp and recalled out way too late.
It really seems like they just started going after Carlin the second he lost that Arb.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, like this is what we're doing. We're just focusing card down, and it's really paid off. I think it's a hero wipe, right? It's like that's
Yeah, that was a
disastrous
hero
for
wipe.
Good. So they're just going to be like, Good is in a really bad position. They need to kill a lot here.
Yeah, I don't think Evil has really lost any large things so far. We have Dull dead, Krolshaw's dead, Central stripped, Karn stripped. Meanwhile, look at Good. Carlin's already faction dead at this point. Yeah, Tharby's going down. Erenvorn's very soon to go down. So Carlin's going to be left on no heroes with only Bridge, Londire, and the Barrow Downs. Now, Exodus is going to get some punish for his aggressive rotates. It looks like they're not going to actually be able to dive that Arb. It would be a bit risky to dive it anyways, since there's plenty of cannons in the area. Erenvorn, yep, that's Erenvorn going down. So yeah, that's Carlin on 3 spawns, no heroes. Maybe soon to be 2 spawns if Exodus actually just chooses to attack Londire here. Meanwhile, Good is pretty close to some kills, but again, Exodus is just gassing Amar. He doesn't really care about Karn that much. He probably doesn't want to give it away for free, of course. But this is ungassed Karn, so even if Good ends up netting Karn, maybe Graham, and finishing off Central, Evil would still have a much better position than Good. Because this is basically a 3v3 now, with all of Evil being stronger. Looks like Gunna and Exodus are going in for a double on Western Rudar. Demand does come in to respond and manages to take up Exodus's attention. But meanwhile, Eros does go down a bit prematurely on the Great Goblin. It looks like Great Goblin did not lose a lot of HP there. And, oh, Explosive is also up here, so this is a triple on Western Rudar, and it is going to go down. It looks like Explosive got the finishing kill. Explosive is going to get that 1,000 minerals. Meanwhile, Explosive is actually gassing Druoy Yower. Anishan, in the meantime, while he is not being focused, is just going in for pretty deep attacks on Goblin Town. It looks like Goblin Town is going to go down this push. Remember that Marhuini is out for Anishan, so this is a 4-hero DPS. 2 Nazgul do come out to Austin to heal. This is one of the best buys that Evil can actually get right now. Now Evil is hitting a huge power spike. And it looks like Gunna did buy us, so this is going to be extra heroes on Evil Min and Amar at the expense of Misty Mountains. Now, Karn Doom is entirely stripped now, but again, even if Good finally manages to take out Karn Doom, what do they have to show for it? Okay, I was checking the Ranger to see if Guerrilla Training was up, because I saw a few extra Numenorian Hounds there, but I think that's just the Fornos Numenorian Hounds. It looks like Ice Bay of Forge Hell is going to live long enough to give levels to the Lostoff Chief. Now, a lot can happen in 140 seconds in this game, but it looks like Evil's focus is going to be down in the east, or the southeast, while Gunfire and Exodus and Explosive, so this is a triple. This is a triple on the inner spawns of Gondor, but Wilbur and Kex are here to respond. It looks like Evil's just going to try and take this fight. Walder gets a very low, activates shield a bit too late, but luckily he does not actually go down before it actually pops. Exodus recalls out. Gunna recalls out. Explosive recalls out. So it looks like they're just not going to respond to this. They're not committing. They are instead just going for alternative picks. It looks like the Evil side is so far ahead that they don't need to be taking any major hero fights, because hero fights are just risk that allows Good to get a good hero wipe and turn the game around. Now, granted, pushing to a choke like that is also a bad idea regardless, but it looks like Good is, I mean, not Good, it looks like Evil is going to just keep hyper-rotating, keep Good off balance for the rest of this game. Carlin is trying to help here, but with only mass, there's not a lot that they can do except try to scare Exodus, but Exodus is a cool cucumber, so he probably will not be phased much by this Carlin mass ball. Now, Londire did not actually go down yet, so Carlin does still have 3 spawns, a non-insignificant presence. Northern Rocks do go down. Karn has been taken out, but in the meantime, Lothlorien and Mirkwood both go down. So that's Wilmer pretty weakened moving forward. Gunna is now just going down for the Gladden settlement. Now, Onishin has finished his 1 gas on Gladden, so it looks like, yep, Kroongar has been bought, so he does get levels on this hero. And Austin and Heal is going to be cleared out, but Austin and Heal, the spawn itself is not that significant for Evil. It's mainly just the Nazgul buys, and there's actually a lot of cannons on the spawn, and in a good position, so even though the spawn's going to die here, the cannons here will still be a nuisance until Good clears it, and Good just does not have the time to spare. Now, Kex is going in for a Graham kill. He still has a full hero ball plus loss off, so it's actually a stronger hero ball than usual. So he is going to get Graham for his troubles here. And Exodus just seems to not respond because he is actually down at last bridge, taking that out. So trades Graham for last bridge. Maybe a bad trade, all things considered, but Evil is pretty far ahead. Kex is being a little bit greedy here, trying to finish off this fortification before he recalls, but he does recall in time, not a lot of punish. So Degree did pay off. And Etmors, looks like Etmors is going to be Good's next target. Wilmer does signal it. And if we look at this Wainwriter chariot, it looks like Wainwriter encampment is being gassed. And this is actually one of the better gasses in this situation because Dunlit's outer cannons are stripped. Ended Wife probably not to play with Central close to death. And Good completely pushed out of the east. Amon Sul is going to go down. Looks like a focus on the Witch King, but these cannons have already all died, or a lot of them at the right have been killed already, so there's not enough actual DPS to chase off the Witch King. Meanwhile, Explosive in the east with a full hero ball plus Naz, or is that 2 Naz? Yeah, 2 Naz, Aduna and Uvafa. You always cannot see Aduna. It's always so hard to spot Aduna in hero balls. And it looks like a double on Kaza Doom. Gunna coming in from the northeast, while Explosive just zones from the front. Meanwhile, we can see that Wilmer is finally finishing off Central Camp, which beat that Carlin was unfortunately not able to finish. Meanwhile, Amon Sul is going to finally go down as Wilmer is away clearing out Central Camp. That spawn kill was a bit long overdue, Central Camp. And its delayed nature kind of shows you the state of this game. Good is just so far behind, having to pick up early game kills like that so far late into the game on factions that typically aren't supposed to be using their time, their valuable time, to take out those spawns. Exodus comes in for a kill on Eric. It looks like Good's Arbs are in the area, but Kex is actually going to go for a snipe, but it looks like Exodus was paying attention to that. So Exodus does not lose his Arb there, and he actually turns around to engage Kex directly. It looks like it's going to be a pincer here. Kex has to either retreat. Yeah, he is going to retreat. Nobody in their right mind should be taking that fight right there. A pincer between 2 full evil factions. Meanwhile, Gunna is finally going down for Lossoff. Now, Lossoff has been maxed already, so the Chief has started to... the ARF transport goes down. Walder, again, almost dying for it, but he does manage to pop shield in time to deny the kill. Actually, shield is full HP, so again, second time this game, the shield comes out late and doesn't actually block any damage. Kind of a cool little nitpick, I guess. But even without Hwaldar, Explosive's mass is so strong, and he has 5 heroes, ranged heroes, that can basically just kind of keep Wilmer and Onichan both here, force them to chase him, and if a fight is picked, he probably has, I wouldn't say the advantage, but he can contest them directly, even if it's a 1v2. Exodus saying that he's just going to base snipe, and Wilmer's transport does get spotted in the north, trying to go for a drop on Gundabad. It looks like he is going to have to recall that in the middle of that fight, so Explosive was able to get a little bit of uncontested damage on Western Gondor while Wilmer was AFK trying to micro away his ARB. Now, it looks like Explo's mass cover has been reduced enough that he has to finally retreat here, but he's bought Evil a lot of time, taking up 2 out of 3 good factions time, and Wilmer is actually forced to recall out here, so Explosive once again has free reign over the inners of Western Gondor. It looks like Wilmer is trying to go in for Dunlin, trying to take whatever spawns he can in this game, trying to eke back a bit of a foothold. Now, Carlin is bringing his mass up to 1v1 Misty Mountains. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, especially with Rogash here, or maybe he's just trying to zone for Kex. Yes, that was actually a pretty good distraction. He was able to bait Gunna into chasing his mass and slowing his response to Kex down. And this should give Kex the time to maybe not kill Etmors, but get very close to it. But meanwhile, EXO is just going uncontested in the south. Londire has been taken out, and with only mass. Now, this is a lot of vanguards, but regardless, with only mass, Jolol can only hope to mildly slow down this push. Wilmer does come into response, so it looks like Jolol's vanguard production is not going to slow down anytime soon. But Gunna actually recalls onto Anishan, and the misrecall! Arnir gets clipped, Frumgar gets clipped. Oh, that's a devastating loss for Western Gondor. It looks like he used the wrong ARB there to recall. Now, one of Good's only remaining factions is down half of their heroes, and Arnir is also, like, all of their hero buys. Actually, no, with Gandalf actually removed from Arnir, there's not a lot of super important buys on Arnir now that he already got Frumgar. But regardless, that's still a very bad play, or a very bad loss for Western Gondor, considering that Arnir is still a hero with pretty respectable DPS, and he has his cannon stun that will be very important in the late game and is now lost. Now, Artagor does come out for explosive, and Kex is actually here trying to strip down Endedwife. Exodus does see him and comes in to chase him off. Kex does recall out in time without any major losses, or HP loss even. But meanwhile, Explosive and Exodus coming in for the double on Barrow Downs, and it looks like there's not a lot of pushback here. Actually, no, there's a lot of pushback here. There's 3 factions here, but even the 3 factions is not enough to completely slow down, or completely stop the evil push. That's all of Jolol's vanguards, stacked vanguards going down. Only 1 remains. And now it's just Wilmer and Kex pushing against Exo and Explosive. Now, it looks like Explosive is going to come in from their left, so they're not going to give up on this push. They're just going to push in despite the good factions here. And meanwhile, Gunna actually forces a recall from Wilmer to Khazad-dûm, and this gives the evils an opening to push down Barrow Downs. Great Goblin does get axed. Oh, it looks like that was a misrecall on the Great Goblin. He runs into the Western cannons on Khazad-dûm. It looks like Galadriel is going down. Thranduil goes down. Exodus dives into the cannons there at Barrow Downs, but the density of them is actually quite misleading. There's only about 4, maybe 5 in range. So Exodus was able to go for that dive uncontested. I don't think there was a focus anyways. And 2 heroes go down for elves in that time. So I think let's take a look at Wilmer's hero ball. Now he's on his 2 melees, a bunch of Dwarven Lords, and Celeborn. It looks like he hasn't actually bought any more heroes this game. Actually, no, he did buy Haldir, which died. And EU calls the GG at the 32-minute mark. Unfortunate. For EU, I mean.
So painful.
Kex is trying to do a last fight. Nope, he leaves. Alright. So that's game 1, going to the Throwby team without Throwby. This is game 2 of the winners semifinals match of the Rise of the Witch King Winter Tournament between the EU team and the Throwby team. The Throwby team has won the first game on Evil, and we are on to our second game with the NA team, Throwby team, coming in with a 1-0 lead. Let's see where this leads us. The EU team will be on Evil this time with Imelborn sitting out, and the full North American team, Throwby team, will be on Good. Alright. Let's quickly just plant our cameras on Loft right now, because we've been missing a lot of Loft rotates in the last tournament games because I've just been going around casting the factions. But anyways, we have Toby on Elves, Exodus on Arthedain, Gunnet on Western Gondor, and explosive on Cardinal for the good side. And also we have a double on Western Gondor at Kex and Wilmer on Amar and Misty Mountains respectively, going in on Western RotWK. Now Toby does come in time to respond, so it looks like this push is dead in the water, and Golden Bull is actually going to go down in that time. Misty Mountains Arb also goes down. It looks like, oh, the Misty Mountains Arb was in that ball and actually got targeted down first instead of another hero. So it looks like a stunning turn of events there. So Kex 2 heroes go to red for Kex. Wilbur loses an Arbiter in that fight as well. But Glorfindel does go down as he goes in for a second dive. And Galadriel, looks like Galadriel is missed in the pullback by Toby, and Galadriel also goes down. So that turned what was a very, very good turn of events for good into a pretty even trade, all things considered. Now, there is an Arbiter in that trade, so Evil is going to still come out on the losing end in this fight. But with elves down to heroes, it's not as crippling as it could have been. And in case people have not noticed, Oni-chan is the last Evil on Evil Men. Yeah, there are always these super fast early rotates that make it so that I can't actually announce the factions first. I should like start announcing the factions later on. Witch King does take a bunch of damage there to a 3v1 basically. And Khan does get a little bit of focus, but does escape relatively fine. And Kex's other 2 heroes finally are healed up, but this is a 3-hero Amar against a 4-hero Arfide. So hopefully Wilmer will be able to make enough progress against 3-hero elves to actually do something in this game. Now, Western RotWK still actually goes down in that triple. So at the very least, Evil does not leave empty-handed. They do achieve their primary goal, but at a pretty big cost. Basically, just Misty Mountains down in Arb. It looks like Wilmer's just gonna be forced to 1v1 Toby this game, unless he goes for very risky plays and moves his Arb out. And actually, Wilmer's Arb is actually just sitting down in Enowise, so it looks like his Arb has already been moved out. And it might be a bit too risky for him, or too long for him to actually move his Arb back up. So it looks like Wilmer's just committed south. If good goes for something like a triple on Amar, or just attacking the inner spawns of Misty Mountains, Wilmer will not be able to respond in time, and he's not actually moving his Arbiter back up into the core spawns. And yeah, Good actually changes their game plan to account for this. It looks like they're actually going to go for Fransburg, so we might see a triple on, or even a quadruple on Scaffold at some point soon. Now, if Oz does not go down soon, it looks like Wilmer might be able to actually move back up his Arbiter in time before the Scaffold triple. Or he might be able to move it back up afterwards if Fram ever comes down.
I think this was intentionally made for this matchup because G Unit hates pushing Scatha and Gobbo Town as elves when Misty is rotating. He'll always try to counter rotate like you're seeing here.
Oh yeah.
So MM can just go south against Gunnet, but Exo just like points it out immediately.
But yeah.
Oh, right.
Oh, I thought that was Marhuini for a second, but no, that's just a Ranger. But looks like the matchups have devolved into kind of just the 1v1 matchups, the standard matchups. But Wilmer is still in the south, just kind of sieging around. It looks like Good might be going for an early Dunlin to try and trap Wilmer's Arb in the south, but if I was Evil, I would just immediately fund Wilmer just 3,000 or so to get the Arbiter out and just rebuy his Arb, because especially on Misty Mountains, Arbiter is worth more than any Nazgul could ever be worth. The medics almost commit suicide on the Arfidane ramp there, almost running into there, but Kex does pull them back in time. And it looks like a transport of Oni-chan is going to float into Left Nui. I'm going to very quickly make sure that my recording is going right. Yeah, it's fine. And back to the game. Alright, Oni-chan is on Pinif Galen. And meanwhile, what was that along LoTR? It looks like Gunnet was chasing off a push by maybe Mass. Anishan does recall out here. It looks like he's not going to commit into the Pin of Galen kill. And Explosive letting Oscar kind of low. Oscar might get picked off here. Nope. Alright, he is fine. Meanwhile, Kex is actually pushing in the right, and Gunnet's ARB is in position to respond, so it looks like Kex is not going to get a ton of progress here, especially with Throwby here for some reason. Meanwhile, Furnos continues to be upgraded. Was it being upgraded first gas? Not sure, because I think that's first gas Furnos. Yeah, okay. Hills of Evendim actually goes gassed for Exodus. Wait, what was Exodus's first gas? Oh, no, he did do double gas Furnos. Okay. Meanwhile, Anishan and Kex go in for a double on Lothlorien. There's only Gunnet here. Toby's ARB is in Cardalin and Western Gondor. This is an odd. This is a very odd Arbiter placement, but it looks like
Gunnet is defending this really well. They're not going to get it here, which is like really you want it when it's just one defending. So this is really well played by Gunnet.
So yeah, Exodus does come in and chases off Amar here, so it's just Anishan left in the east, and it looks like they're going to go for a double on the Dolgul door cannons on the outside. And let's see if they're actually going to be able to one-push this. It looks like Gunnet is zoning as Exodus is sieging. Gunnet actually inspiring Exodus's mass instead of his own, so that's
where's Amar during this?
That they have coordinated this so that Gunnet is zoning.
Where's the other evils?
What?
Is Exodus? Where's the other evils right now? Because Exo is busy, so they should be pushing somewhere. Are they pushing Orthanc?
Oh, they are. Yeah, it looks like Wilmer was going for a long-winded push on Orphanc, doing the recall in, but he took quite a while to get his ARB there and wasn't doing much in that time. So I don't even know if that was the most time-efficient play. It looks like,
Are they trying to?
Lostsoft does go down really early for Exodus, no less. It looks like he is transitioning to Evendim, though. It looks like he's not actually confident enough in his ability to keep Furnos alive. Arguably right with Toby Elves, but we'll see. It has moved his ARB down here to defend LoTR, but he is a bit too late. The cannons are all stripped, so he's just going to not even bother. Meanwhile, Exodus is going in for the right side clear on Karn-Dûm. It looks like Wilmer has actually... Is that an ARB rebot or an ARB move? It looks like he has not actually rebought his ARB. He just moved it over to Karn-Dûm. So... Oh, wait, no. He has moved, recalled... he has rebought an ARB, but he just has both of them sitting in Karn-Dûm. That was why he was going in for the Orphanc drop, because he had a second ARB, so he could recall out if things got just too dicey. And more gas for Wilmer. Arguably a little bit safer, given that Elves isn't here to kind of push down the east. But in a pro lobby, you probably won't see Elves solo pushing the cannons anyways. And Wilmer is actually going for Ice Bay. Exodus is actually going for Evendim gas first, and he's staying on Evendim, so it looks like the levels on... Oh, never mind, he swapped over. So we're going to see levels on the Chieftain of the Lostsoft in 21 minutes. Let's see if Evil will be able to deny them in that time. Gunlin's going to go down, so if they actually... it looks like Wilmer manages to float his ARB down into the south before it gets blocked off by Oss. I'm assuming that the Dunlin kill is in preparation for an Oss buy. So if they manage to actually chase out Wilmer's ARB one more time, then it will just be trapped on the north the entire game. But let's see if that ends up happening. Wilmer may try to play safer with his ARB now that Dun is dead. Kex comes in for a double on... triple on Carlin, so 2 on the south and 1 pushing E Tharbad. 14-minute Eastern Tharbad kill, but Explosive has dropped down Austin at heal. So this is a very strong position now for good. Minhiriaf is going to go down. It looks like Toby alone is defending Minhiriaf, and that's not enough with only 3 heroes. Meanwhile, Anishan actually does recall out, I'm not sure where. Where is Anishan right now? Where did he recall to? Not actually sure. Can't actually see his ball. Oh, he... Huh? Where did Oni-chan go? Okay, he finally recalls over there. He wasn't here a minute ago, so I don't know where. He does show his catapult, so that signals too good that it is an Eastern RotWK gas, but Troll Shots has not actually gone down yet. It looks like Cardinal was focusing Dunland first. Oni-chan is going in for Loft again, and there are no actual ARBs in the area to contest. Gunna is floating an ARB at Orphank, so he is using his ARB to defend Lothlorien, but that might give Wilmer an opportunity to float in. But no, Wilmer's ARB is actually just sitting at Edenwife. It looks like that wasn't a fully coordinated push, even though Gunna's out of the area and his ARB is out of the way. That's because Wilmer was actually going for Lossoff instead of Orphank in that time. Now, I'm not actually sure if... okay, Kernir has actually come out, so even if they do get Orphank, it's not going to be much of a net gain for Evil.
Normally we say that, like, you know, as the time goes on, Evil gets more ahead. But Trolls is just now dying. Evil Men is barely touched. Like, the longer this goes... You know, they need to kill Evil Men.
Oh, Huntmaster goes down, and it looks like he got stuck on that bridge. Oh, that's a big loss for Good there, because this was a very close game. I would say positionally, Good was slightly ahead, but that Huntmaster loss is going to set them back a lot.
Yeah, Cardinal is struggling generally just to make any progress against EM.
It looks like
Trolls is just now dying at 17.
Kill.
We see Trolls dying at 3 minutes a lot of the time.
Yeah, granted, he was going for done first, but that was still like a a 10-minute-ish done kill, 11-minute?
Yeah, so. It's just, oh, and they're pushing through Ost.
Yeah,
I wonder about this.
Kex did actually upgrade Ice Marine first. It looks like he's not going for Karn Doom, he's going for the safer gases. Meanwhile, Wilmer actually has his ARB sitting at Yower. Exodus is actually trying to hunt for it. Does Wilmer see this? I don't know if he does. Oh, okay. Oni-chan does ping, and it looks like Wilmer is going to not get sniped off. But if Exodus can force a recall of Wilmer's ARB, just kind of trap it in Yower, then he won't be able to get it back into the south. Toby's actually here as well. He's just kind of raw pushing Enderwife, I suppose. Meanwhile, Gunna is here to kind of be in the area to deter Wilmer. It looks like he's going to recall preemptively instead of trying to take the fight, leaving Toby for dead. Luckily, he does actually recall out instead of just trying to take that fight, and only loses 400 HP on Thranduil. Now, Oni-chan does get Lothlorien in that time. Gunna does come in to respawn, but not quite fast enough as he just right-clicks the spawn, not even stripping the cannons. Meanwhile, Kex goes in for Aaron Vorn, but Toby very, very nicely in the area for good. He will be able to respond in time and chase him off. Exo going for very greedy plays, just going for Gundabad first and taking fights with Kex. Now, this is a 3-hero Amar. Does he actually have Nas? He does have Nas, so this is a 4-hero Amar, but with Gulp down, that's a lot of the range damage just gone. Meanwhile, in the south, Toby continues to siege down Central Enderwipe camp. And Explosive is going for the slow clear up top of the cannons up here. So it looks like they're stripping it from all 270 degrees here. I'm not really sure if that's the optimal play. They're wasting a lot of resources going for the cannons up top as well. It looks like Good was actually funding Toby here. Oh, no. Toby was funding everyone else, but now he's going to save up some money to finally get a hero buy of his own. Wayne actually got the first gas. It looks like at the 20-minute mark, Wayne was still alive, so Oni-chan decided to gas it. But it might be going down now that Gunna has changed focus to it. Kex attacking Gondor, and Wilmer attacking Arthurday, and it looks like Amar ARB goes down in the back of Karn. It looks like instead of responding to the North Downs kill, Exo was diving the ARB in Karn Doom, and it seems to have worked.
That's a huge dive. Oh my god.
That's a huge dive. That's a really big win for...
You can see that turret that took damage in the back. That's how far he went.
Yeah.
I think. Or unless that was damage from earlier pushes.
The kill was somewhere around here, so maybe the ARB was floating like a bit too far at the ridge.
It might have been a little forward, like in front of the turrets maybe. Yeah, and then moved back a little bit. That's a little bit more common. I don't think Exo is that ballsy to go all the way into Karn.
Yeah.
That's insane even for him. Look at this game though. This is very high quality play, much higher quality than last time. It's super close, and it's 21 minutes in.
Yeah. But as we can see here, Amar's ARB is actually trapped in the south. He was rotating in on Carlin, and with Oz down and good camping it, he can't actually get back up to Amar. So good should be able to get a lot of just uncontested damage up in the north here. And EXO just going and murdering all of this Wilmer mass. It looks like Wilmer's had on hold position. Now, he does lose a lot more mass than you think from it, so his cover is a bit reduced here. It looks like EXO is going to recall out to Scaffa. They're finally going for that Framsburg play, like they said, but Wilmer's ARB is back in the north now. It's just that Kex is trapped in the south. Now, Wilmer was not actually defending Scaffa. He had his ARB at Carndoom, so this is going to be basically a free kill. And, but again, no Northman has been bought yet, so it will be quite a while if they do end up deciding on Framsburg before it actually comes out. Wilmer finally responds to this push. The triple is getting a lot of damage down on the cannons without losing a ton of hero HP for it. And, Wilmer using the chokes to his advantage, trying to
taking
just
a
take
lot
these
of
fights.
damage.
Gorkill gets very, very low.
Holy
Looks like the right
well.
click dealt a ton of damage there. If Arrows was off cooldown, he would have been dead. I'm not sure if it is off cooldown or not, but it didn't come out regardless. And Wilmer now just defending with Great Gobbo and Rogash alone, trying to just delay this push, despite the very it looks like Gunnet loses both medics there. The medics, with their infamously bad pathing, run up into Wilmer's ball. That's going to be quite the setback for Western
This
Gondor.
is so hard to push effectively. Like, this terrain is just nasty, especially with so many players pushing each other around. This is, I feel very bad for them watching this, because I just know their pain right now.
Regardless, they did do a lot of damage despite a faction being there just guarding the choke. It was more than expected, because even with a triple,
they killed
this choke
Scaffa.
is so bad. And yeah, of course they took out Scaffa. They're very close to Ugalai. One miner can now finish it off, maybe explosive, given that his strength is a bit lower now.
What's up, BJ?
Explo finally finishing off central camp, so Ani-chan slowly dying, a bit slower than you'd think, especially with, is that a Max? No, that's not Max Wing Rider. He actually went for Coldfells. Meanwhile, Wilmer finally deciding to go for Elven King's Halls. Now, there are ARBs in the area to respond, but this is Toby, and Toby does not have a lot of strength left in him right now. I say that as he actually buys Treebeard, it looks like he's going for Treebeard instead of Iwindel. Let's see if this pays off. Or if Treebeard just immediately dies. Now, Smog is focused quite a lot. Celeborn almost going down, 130 HP there. Meanwhile, wait, those are Drakes in the ball. Was Scaffa actually gassed? Did they deny the gas?
They got one. They got one.
Yeah, okay,
and it
one
wasn't
gas.
being up anymore.
Yeah, okay. One gas on Scaffa is kind of common. It's pretty high impact gas. Oh, it looks like they're good as making the play of actually funding Toby. Let's see if this actually pays off or if it immediately turns the game around for evil. Iwindel is pretty squishy at level 1 after all. Nazgul does come out for Wilmer. It looks like they funded Wilmer for his Naz to... Or maybe he didn't get funded, but Wilmer does get his Naz, so he's able to contest Elves directly. This is a 5v5, I believe. Uva is out, yep. And now, Franduel is going to be pretty vulnerable to this Uva. Int number 1 goes down. Let's see if the second Int goes down. I kind of like going for the Int. Yep, both Ints go down for free, so it looks like Toby's not going to divert the extra effort into trying to keep them alive. But Exodus going in for Amar Plains. Nobody's here to defend it, and Plains is being gassed. So if Kex loses Plains here, this is actually going to be devastating for Evil. Meanwhile, Iwindel goes down. It looks like Oni-chan went for a probing attack from the south and actually manages to cop a hero kill. Meanwhile, Kex signals that Amar is very vulnerable here. It might go down, and Wilmer comes in, but okay, so the ARB does not get sniped. It looks like EXO was just a little bit not fast enough to go for the dive for it. and Wilmer does come in to defend. Kex's Arbiter is still stuck in the south, and it has not been rebought yet. So this is just a no Amar right now. Amar just not going to Amar ever. But he is trying to 1v1 gun it, and it seems to be paying off. Western Gondor's ball is pretty mediocre against Witch King, and he is able to zone gun it pretty effectively, but he can't really push into these cannons alone, especially not with Golf.
How shall you serve me?
Gunnet indicates aim TP. Are they going to go for the dive on the aim TP? It's relatively exposed. There are not a lot of cannons on this bottom of it, at least. Amon Swool does go down to Oni-chan. His gas is actually pretty uncontested. Wayne is still alive. Eastern Rudar is still alive. Yora's not even dead yet. Ended Wife isn't dead yet. This is a very healthy Evil Min for this stage of the game. I say Wayne's alive, but Gunnet might be finally finishing off Wayne right now. Yep. One ability goes off, and that's stripping distance for Wayne, and it looks like he's going to get that 4th cannon for the safe strip, or the 5th cannon for the extra strip, I guess. Meanwhile, for good in the north, Exodus is attacking Amar once more, but it looks like Wilmer is on puppy guarding duty for Amar. Meanwhile, Toby actually signals that Kex's transport's down here. Now, this is a very long distance for it to float back, so he might be actually losing his ARB here if Good sends someone to hunt
I don't think they saw him ping that, but that's very good map awareness by Toby.
Yeah, Toby with pretty good map awareness, pretty nice, despite losing.
That's the type of thing where you need to type it in chat, I think.
Yeah. There. HB duty Australian. Toby's speaking Australian in the chat, undecipherable. Meanwhile, it looks like the ARB is going to go back with no punish. So, yeah, doing these really long rotations on only one ARB is a very risky endeavor. It looks like Explosive's Hunter ARB just arrived a bit too late to actually catch that. Unfortunate for Good. And it looks like Gun is not going to be here. He parks his ARB all the way at Hell and just gives Amar the time to actually strip out all of these cannons. Or I say all of these, there's only 3 cannons at the front of Eric, but that's enough to make the hero fight a lot more difficult for Gunnet. Meanwhile, Ugalai does go down, and Wilmer is now 1v1ing Exodus in the north. Gunnet and Kex just kind of in a staring match. It looks like Kex is not ambitious enough to go for the Eric kill while Gunnet is here. Now, Gunnet has no actual mass to cover himself, while Kex does, but I think the hero counts are actually 1-to-1. 4 heroes to, what, 4 heroes? Yeah, I think so. Oh, Misty Mountains ARB goes down to the dive by Toby. It looks like there's no focus here, so Toby's actually go down, and I think because Wilmer lost his ARB there, or maybe because he looked over, Great Goblin actually goes down off screen. Oh, that's a really risky play for Toby there, but pays off very well for him. Meanwhile, Londire does actually get killed by Kex. It looks like he changed his focus. And I would say it was very, very neck and neck earlier on in the game, but with that Misty Mountains ARB loss and hero loss, that's the second ARB this game, by the way. That's going to be pretty rough for Evil. Evil can't really rotate as much anymore. And it looks like Wilmer's going to go for his second ARB rebuy of the game. Toby signals that he might be able to grab the Evilman special transport there. And is Toby going to get it? I mean, this transport is very exposed. Outer cannons of Losov have been stripped. Western Rudar gone, Amon Swool gone. Not untouched Arphidane, but most of Exo's power is still alive. Looks like Wilbur and Oni-chan are going to go in for a double on Exodus. There are Snow Trolls in this ball, so Oni-chan has a lot of DPS. Oni-chan's mass is really strong right now, despite having lost Wayne Rider encampment. It looks like they're going to push 2 different areas instead of the same area. Oh, it looks like Oni-chan actually walked backwards a little bit, so a bit of a missed opportunity there while Wilmer was actually distracting Exodus. Explosive comes in, and it looks like the ARB dies for Evil Men, but not that ARB. It was actually the one at Ended Wife. It looks like Toby going in for very ambitious dives this game. Despite being only on 4 heroes, one of them is Thranduil, so he can put out a lot of DPS. against these enemy arbs. He goes in for the flank on Kex, and Ginger does not go down. If Duran had slapped him a bit, Ginger would have gone to red, but I don't think he would have died regardless. Explosive is here to defend Fornos, but the bottom Fornos cannons have actually been stripped, so it's pretty vulnerable from the bottom. If Ani-chan goes in for a dive, Exodus won't be able to walk over in time, and it'll all be on Exodus's focusing and Explosive's response to keep Fornos alive. Meanwhile, in the south, not much happening. Kex is actually in the middle, just clearing out these extra cannons doing the Korean strat, and it looks like he's finally gonna get his art back up to the north, especially with a pretty dead Enidwife. Or actually, no, it's still pretty healthy, all things considered, but there aren't a lot of safe spots for Arbiters anymore. Looks like Toby's going in for Ace Marine with Gunnet. It is gonna go down, so that's 3 of Amar's gas gone for good. It looks like Hex is on only planes, which is most of his gas, and Karn and Graham. So it looks like Good actually just made the play of not going for the outers, and it looks like we just saw the Dunland kill down in the south. Dunland, it looks like Ani was trying to trade for Austere or Karthang and loses the chieftain of the Dunlandings. That's a pretty rough loss for Evil there. Yes is now knocking at the door of Eastern Rudar, so despite being down 3 heroes, he is still being a very significant threat. Duran does almost go down to cannons there, but he does recall out in time. Kex has 2 heroes down here, not sure why. Where is the rest of his ball? Meanwhile, Exodus is just knocking down the gates of Amar from the front.
Oh,
Kabul might be going down. That's a pretty well-placed force field there. He is going to get the kill on Kamul, and recalls out safely in time before anything happens to his heroes. That's a pretty big net gain for Good there.
You have to be dangerous with that gap between Amar and the cannon on the bottom side is just big enough for a force field. So when you go in front of it, you think you can pull back, but Argilev can just force field you out, and we see that he gets punished there. That's a huge deal.
Yeah,
Wool is so much like
just
mass clear. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, if they get Amar here, Amar, this is the second to last upgrade, so that's almost max Amar. If they get Amar here, I think that's just game. We saw even at, like, the 30-minute mark, this was a very close game, but in the last 10 minutes, Good has been making win after win after win with very few losses on their part. Fornos is pretty close to dying, and it's being upgraded, but at this point, Exodus with only Evandim, Lossoff, and Anuminas can put up a bit of a fight. And it looks like Evil's conversion again with a double on Exodus. Explosive does come in time, but it looks like the forward shell cannons are going to be mostly stripped in that time. So forward shell will probably be impossible to... Actually, no, since Kex is down most of his heroes, he can't actually win the 1v1 against Arthurdane. So he's just relying on Exodus being distracted to get these kills.
Eric goes down 2 during this time. Oh my god.
Yeah, Eric goes down 2. It looks like Wilbur was actually attacking Western Gondor and getting a good kill. It looks like Toby actually floats in an Arb with only 50% HP. If Kex went for that Arb with Witch King and Jinder, he might have actually gotten it. That was a pretty risky play. Toby making a lot of risky plays this game, but they're all paying off.
This is a super weird map state. Like, I'm just looking at this, and it's like, Enidwaith is still alive. So is Eastern Rudar. They're getting Grey Mountains, because Mirkwood is Mirkwood? No, Mirkwood is still around. Alive. But Loth is dead. Mirk is here. Red is completely untouched. Karn is alive.
Well, I wouldn't say completely. North Downs, Western Rudar, Amon Sul.
Oh, and Anuminas is gone, too.
Anuminas is still here.
Okay. This is just so strange.
Yeah, it's a very... This could go dominated. It
yeah.
actually goes up for Evil. This is such a weird map state. Yeah.
This could easily go...
Oh, Toby's arm finally goes down. Looks like he tried for that again, and Texas was onto him. Like I said, just floating around with a half HP arm like that was playing with fire. Usher actually goes down for Explosive as well, so... the balance of favor might be swinging back in Evil's side. Gunnet, though, is fully uncontested. Or, I say that, or Eric's dead. I mean, his hero ball is still fully healthy, and he might be going for Franzberg here. Yep, the second gas on Gladden has been finished. So
Are they
even
going
though
Framsburg?
Evil Min still lives with Rudar, yep,
It is
comes
Framsburg.
down. And this is a low hero game, so Evil might not be able to contest that. That will be very rough to see. Let's see how Evil responds. Now, Fornos is probably going to go down soon at the very least. That's a pretty nice consolidation for Evil. And it looks like Hex and Wilmer might be going for Gladden. They know that it's this double gas. They know that the cannons here are pretty sparse, and they probably cannot push into Fram defended by actual players. Meanwhile, EXO is starting to strip down Rudar cannons. Oni-chan comes in to intercept and forces Exodus to back off. And Kex might be going for maybe Fram here. Fram is pretty squishy and vulnerable at his level 1 state, demi-hero state. It looks like Explosive is gonna go for Ended Wife. I think Explosive is kind of just a terrorist faction now. But if you're going to be a terrorist faction as Carlin, the best hero you could want is
They're just
Ular.
ignoring him too. There's 2 orbs flying past him going to the.
It looks like they're gonna finish off Barrow Downs while.
Oh, they're gonna get it. Whose orb is that? Is that Explo's orb?
Yeah,
he's not
Explode.
careful.
There's no orbs here. It looks like Good has just kind of written off Explosive as dead. That's gonna be a free Barrow Downs, but this is kind of an overcommitment, if anything.
This is a big commitment. Well, it's just one hero ball.
Wilmer's sending only mass, so maybe it's just
That's
extra
probably
cover in
wise.
case Oni-chan needs more to dive it. That's actually a pretty
This
good
is
play. But yeah, Barrow Downs goes down for basically free. Very nice. But in that time, Rudar's outer cannons, infamously dense, have all been stripped away by Exodus. So not a free kill, actually. I kind of misspoke there. Great Mountain's getting the Mithril mining up, so if Toby decides to buy a second dwarf spawn, he might actually be able to get Mithril. This is going to be so weird. Mithril, Framsburg from a wiped Western Gondor. Meanwhile, we have basically untouched Evil North, and not really
This is a
untouched
weird situation.
North. It's like it has taken some beatings, but it's still alive, and I don't think it's actually been the starting play for Oni-chan. So this is such a weird game. Just so many unintended builds taking hold because they're like the best strategic decision. Fram taking a lot of cannon shots there, getting it quite low. Kex coming in from the west. I don't know what that's about.
That's gonna probably let them get
but
Fornos.
I
But
think
they need
it's
to be careful.
I think it was just trying to get Exodus away, but it's not going to be enough. Fram is quite low here, so.
Everyone is low.
Yeah, Fram low.
Oh, Khan is low.
Oh, Walder being focused down. That's the only full HP one.
Oh,
LoTR actually gets this change target to. Argleb goes super low in that actual hero fight, and it looks like Kex finishes off Fornos from the back, but at the cost of Alatar and a lot of Evil's HP mass hero pushing power. I don't know if that was worth it because they could have come back and probably gotten that kill, and now Oni-chan, which is going to be their late game carry, is pretty weak. They can't get Polando anymore.
Well, they still have
Yeah,
they still can get it. I think like you don't want to take the risk of Fornos just not dying because it's happened more times than not where like Fornos gets really low and then it gets repaired and then you just like spend the next 20 minutes wishing you'd been able to kill it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a tricky situation. I think like you just don't want to take the risk of like Fornos living because if there's any this is an interesting fight though. He's just getting chased away.
He's just getting chased away. Meanwhile, at Rudar, I think at some point Exodus will be able to start 1v1ing Oni-chan if he ever gets like Malvagil, because Anuminos Sanctuary gas, honestly, that's a lot of gas. Is obviously not as good as Max Fornos, and it looks like EXO actually sees this ARB and goes in to snipe it. He's not actually committing to it though. He's actually chasing off Oni-chan instead. Maybe he expects that Kex is watching his ARB. I'm not sure if he is. Look at it, it's just kind of floating here and then going back. I think Exodus should have just gone for that ARB. I think Exodus was expecting Kex to be watching his ARB. And maybe he was. I'm not really sure what his camera was like. Explosive now terrorizing the north at AS Ruin, trying to just be a constant thorn in Evil's side, forcing recalls. That's one of the better things you can do as a terrorist late game, is to just force recalls and waste the important faction's time. Looks like Gunnet does not have enough mass to actually contest Kexela's. He loses half of the HP on Kuranir, and it looks like Kex is actually going in for an attack on Framsburg. These are some pretty dense Western cannons, so he's going to have to actually divert a lot of mass into this push, but Gundit's pretty low. Half of Courtier's HP is gone, and nobody's in position to directly contest Franzberg. But at the same time, Kex's hero count is so low that he can't get that much damage off in the time that Gundit takes to walk over. Walder goes down for Anishan. That's really rough. That's a lot of his northern hero buys and spawn buys gone.
Well, he already bought a lot of them. So he still has Moot Lord.
Kargash. I don't think Lighthash is the play, but Fornos is a big one.
Fornos is plausible, but Witch King's still around, and I think you give this to Aimar to get a gun in there.
Oh, no high fall, so he can't actually transition Fury ever.
Oh, that's sad. That is this game is so strange.
So strange.
EM is so healthy for no reason.
Yeah, it's almost an hour, and well, I mean, EM did go for kind of a turtle build, and all of the southern spawns are dead. But Wilbur and Anishan still have ARBs here, so they can maybe go for a surprise rotate and take something out.
Do they have any ARBs at Lamadon, or is Lamadon even the right play here? I don't know.
I don't know, because they have to push for Ed Helen here. It would actually take way too long. I think they could probably push down Ridge.
Yeah.
Maybe, no, they would be able to get planes in that time.
They might just get planes.
Yeah, they're forced at planes.
Obviously can't
still managing to 1v1 Anishan despite being on the only having lost Fornos, but Anishan's hero power is just way too low. Granted, he has a lot of snow trolls to kind of make up for that. That's a huge amount of damage. A lot of it is negated by armor though, and these are almost max level heroes, so these all have 10 armor on average on the ranged ones alone. And Karf has wait, did Karf die? I could have sworn he lived. Yeah, he's still here. Wilmer's gonna go in for Franzberg. We haven't actually been seeing Wilmer a ton here. I'm not actually sure what he's been up to. Oh wait, he's been the 1v1 elves in the north to make sure they don't go for Gundabad. Because, okay, Argaleb finally goes down, so that's the first actual hero loss for Exo. Looks like Exo's finally getting weakened. That's a lot of DPS on Arthurdane gone, and that's the threat, the ever-constant threat of Force Field going away for Evil. Looks like Grey Mountains might finally go down here.
Oh, Smaug is getting really damaged.
Smaug goes down! And Wilmer does not get anything in return. Maybe Franduel could have been traded for there if he only moved back to Smaug, but that's rough. At the very least, Kex is making some progress here, and Grey Mountains is pretty close to death, but with Smaug dead, I'm not really sure if Wilmer will be able to finish just pushing it down.
I don't think he can push, but he can hold.
Yeah.
Things I feel like everyone can hold, and I don't know if anyone can push.
Yeah.
So I do feel like this could go very, very long if they wanted to. Right?
This is a low resource game now, and low resource games get wonky.
If they decide to get aggressive, then I think it can still end pretty fast. If just like an ARB gets sniped, there's nowhere to recall, and like Aimar gets hero wiped, then it might end pretty fast. But if they're just everyone's defending, this gets tricky.
Yeah. Kex still on one ARB, I believe.
Oh, they go for the plane side. That's ambitious.
Yeah. I mean, 2 more of that, and then Aimar's down, and there's not a ton that Evil can really do about it.
What's up?
Like, the problem is that the rotations are so long for Arthurdane that Evil can't really push down Arthurdane. Like, Evil doesn't have the ARBs to go for rotates, and it looks like Eastern Rudar is going to be dived on by Toby. Durin takes a lot of damage, but that's Toby's most healthy hero, and I think shield was off CD, so that was like the worst possible focus there. And Carlin buys himself back into the game with Elos Tyrion. Has Franzberg actually been maxed at this point? It looks like Toby actually gave up Grey Mountains for free and the cannons around it with that push, so that was not free for good. And Aimbar's special transport goes down. That's Kex on no transports. That's super bad. And it looks like Exo's actually gonna go in for the dive on Gundabad. Wilmer is in the area to defend, so luckily he is going to deny that. But Kex on no ARBs. That means he's just stuck in the north with super long defensive rotations. Explosive trying to solo defend Anuminas, but it looks like Anuminas is going to go down here if Anishan just focuses the spawn before Exodus gets here. Is he going to lose something for this, though? No, he's not. Okay, so Anuminas does get traded for that ARB and the Gunda cannons. But Exodus is just going to continue dropping Mount Gundabad here. He has a special transport just kind of stashed up here. Framsburg getting very low here. 3 cannons on the front side, 4 cannons on the front side, almost dead. Top side being pressured. Meanwhile, Throwby putting up a very strong fight. 3 heroes lost for Throwby, but one of the strongest hero balls left.
Gunnet is still, I think, the carrier if he can, right?
Yeah.
Because he has the most like pushable ball, just with like the amount of 6 range he has.
Yeah, but if he
Except
loses
Fram's
Framsburg,
just being sensible
that's a
back.
lot of his mask gone, so he's back down to like
He
a minor
still
faction.
has Lamb, and they're going for Lamb right
Lamb
now, I
is-
think.
Are they? Let's check the... No, they're not.
Oh no, I thought the creep was.
Exodus just Exodus is allowed to just move this arm
Oh my
right
God,
into the
this is a
front of
huge
Plains.
heal.
He goes for the dive. It looks like
He's
Amar Plains is down.
It's a huge
Oh,
grab.
Good is now on a
Oh my
timer.
God.
I mean, Evil's on a timer now
Yeah,
because
the stalemate-
that's
the
so much
stalemate's, like,
mass
over there.
denied for them. If they can't
Yeah,
get
that's a
enough
huge deal.
progress in like the next 5 minutes, they're going to fall so far behind. Kex did buy Fornos here though, so he has gas to make up for it, and Karn Doom is going to get max at the very least. And Good's decision to just ignore the outers might bite them because this is a fully canon Karn Doom, and this is a fully canon Mount Graham. Or
Yeah, weirdly enough, he
Graham
actually
fully
does still
canon
have mass.
yeah, okay, fair enough. But Karn Doom,
Oh, Goblin Town too.
Goblin Town goes down. That's Wilbur out of stuff to gas, it looks like. But Gundabad and Edamores, that's a lot of stuff. And Edamores is protected by Cold Fells.
It's
Aguilar
going in the
Kex,
wrong direction,
gets
right?
a hero buy, and it looks like Gun is gonna let these top cannons go down for free
Wow,
on
I'm
Framsburg.
surprised
So
at
we
this.
might be seeing Framsburg die soon. Now that
That was the
the
most
top is so
effective-
vulnerable.
That was the most effective push on Framsburg in like 20 minutes. And then I think it's just because they were in the wrong place, or they were like resting or healing. Huh.
Yeah, he was kind of sitting down here when he should have been sitting in front. Onichan might actually be able to faction wipe Exodus here. Exodus has been doing a pretty
Exodus
good
is still
job all
scary.
game, but he just doesn't have the mass to contest this huge stack of snow trolls, and Cold Pels has not been denied yet. We might
Look at all
actually.
this
I
Karn
think
Doom
this.
mass.
Yeah.
How often do you see Angmar, Plains of Angmar, dying before Karn Doom? I actually
And
don't know
Graham,
the last
for that
time I've
matter.
seen that. Right, in Graham. This is the weirdest situation I think I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Snow
in the
trolls are
East,
the
like,
most
I think
mass?
the
Oh my
balance
God.
of power is actually just swinging back into Evil's favor. Is despite Aim dying, if Evandim dies soon, then oh wait, no, the slow reaction. Adunabeth survives with 21 HP left. That could have been catastrophic. And Onchan loses half of his snow trolls there, so that's a lot of his DPS gone despite not having lost Aduna. He's going to have to wait quite a while for that stack to replenish. They're going for the Stewart's buy. It looks like they're trying to protect Gladden here. I think this is unironically a good play, though. What is this game? Stewart's being an unironic optimal play. Rudar, mind you, is still alive, so Onichan still very strong despite the hero losses and the loss of Eastern Rudar. This is known.
Our allies are being
And Gunna has actually bought the upgrade on Framsburg right away. Fram has gotten his levels. So that means he's a lot more survivable now, and he has access to his ability as well as a DPS increase. Onichan is going to lose Moot Lord there to a misguided focus. Not even a Hobbit goes down. Chieftain of the Loss Off with levels is pretty tanky, all things considered.
our allies are being attacked.
It looks like Throwby is calling for Gunna to sacrifice Framsburg, which might be the play here. After all, it's basically entirely exposed, and they might be trying to trade it for Karn, but
Our allies are being
where's Gunna's Arb? Exodus floating his Arb into Gundabad, going for the dive, but he just doesn't have the mass cover to do this. Only mass is enough to just defend the spawn. Unless Wilbur just streams it in one by one instead of all going in at once.
They're actually still doing damage, amazingly enough. It's just not enough. They almost
Yeah,
got
it's just not enough.
one of the
It
Hobbits.
looks like he was actually going for... Oh no, that's a Hobbit Archer, not a Hobbit Hero.
What's the plan?
Onichan was not able to finish off the spawn in the time that Exodus spent at
our
Gundabad.
allies are being attacked.
Meanwhile, Toby's just slamming his head into Cold Fells, but this choke is just unpushable.
What's in it for me?
Meanwhile, Stores has not actually gone down yet, so maybe they were not funding ARF for Stores, but unironically, it might be pretty strong in this case regardless. Also, the cannons kind of stack up with the Aotheode.
I think you just want any bases at this point, really. I think you just want bases instead of heroes. So like if you can buy stores, if you can buy random dwarf spawns, I think you just want raw mass, and I think you want to push them like from the front here, actually,
Toby
instead of going
dwarf
through
mass
these
would
hills.
be a huge boon right now, and Buzzer Doom is wide open for him, and he already got the Mithril on Grey Mountains.
Does he still have Rogash?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
okay,
so-
it looks like Gunna is going for the Karn Doom kill, so it looks like he is following Toby's advice. He's gonna
he's
trade
trading?
Franzberg for Karn Doom.
Oh,
Let's
if
see
they
if
let this
Gunna's
trade
able
happen,
to
that's
one-push
not
Karn Doom,
good.
though. Stores does
That's not
come
good
down
for the
like we
EU.
expected, and Wilmer going in for
flank
this.
flank on who? Gorkill?
The flank on Gorkill.
Oh.
Okay, he doesn't lose any heroes for it, but he doesn't actually manage to take out Farmberg, and in that time,
He got cliffed there too,
Karn
so
Doom.
he's lucky he didn't get cliffed because some
Yeah,
of
he's
his
very
mass didn't
lucky.
recall back. So he could have lost a lot there. Oh yeah, you see the cliff that he was over.
yeah, it was right against the map, the edge of the map.
Karn Doom going down here is so
Yeah.
bad. Oh, but it's not gonna die huge.
Yeah, it's not gonna die yet, but it's almost entirely stripped. Now they have to camp it.
Yeah.
At the
You know,
very least,
Exo is just looking
Franzberg's
at that,
basically
so
dead. There's not a lot
nicely.
that good can do. So he did sacrifice Franzberg for an unkilled Karn Doom, but Karn Doom's very close to dying. That's the majority of guns, good mass at least. Are catapults out yet? Wait, has he just forgotten to upgrade Lamadon?
No, he's
Where's
been upping
Gas?
it recently. I don't know if he's been consistent with it though.
Yeah, he might have forgotten about
He's
it.
up
I
to
might
once
actually
or
see
twice.
catapults in his ball.
Allies are being attacked.
Oh, that might be a misplay there. That might be why Western Gondor did not have as much pushing power as they otherwise would have.
I think it's more to do with just the terrain. You know, they're going up these choke points against a Rogash and Gorkill. Like that's. Oh wait, but no one's defending his elf push. He's
Never
getting.
mind.
Oh, there he
One was
comes.
here.
There he comes. But even just losing these turrets is actually really impactful.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose any turrets in this situation as Misty. You want to make this as slow and just as grindy as possible. And then eventually Good just gets tired and starts throwing heroes. From experience,
Yeah.
I know this is true.
Han getting dived on, but it looks like no heroes actually going down HP for Exodus. I'm not quite sure what Oni-chan's actually focusing here. Good has been actually funding Toby. I'm not sure for what.
Our allies are being
Is
attacked.
Roskabel the play here? Wait, did Iwandel go down at some point? Oh yeah, right, Iwandel did.
Allies are being
So
attacked.
no Roskabel. They might be... I'd assume Toby's gonna get dwarf spawns after this.
Verdun did die.
Borgomir buys Barrow down, so that's Gardaleg coming in for... Oh, it looks like Evil's actually swapping focus over to the south, giving Kex an extra spawn to gas. Fornos is still alive, by the way. And it looks like Mount Graham is going to die before Marauders comes out, but I'm not even sure if Marauders is the right play here. That's 5k just for a buff to
Yeah.
dead Golden Bull.
JMS also points out that they're funding Toby for another ARB.
Oh, Misty Mountains Arb gets dived
Oh,
on by
Misty
Toby.
died.
Another super risky play by Toby that pays off. Friendwell doesn't even die.
Oh my god.
All
They're
these
getting
super greedy
so,
dives.
so close on these, but
Toby
it's really
has
paying
not
off
been
for
being
them.
punished for these at all.
Well, he's also gotten doved on a couple times.
Nah, that's true, that's
So
true.
he's not getting
PC
punished.
for medic,
I
he says
guess I'll
worth.
just keep doing it.
Toby has a second
Yeah.
Arb out now. Is Misty Mountains on no Arbs? No, the Southern Arb, but that means
What
Gun
is-
is going to be super vulnerable. They don't have a lot.
I would just love to see someone at some point within the last half hour go for Lamadon. And you see the ping. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, Lamadon wasn't being upgraded. He forgot
wasn't
about
being upgraded.
Lamadon.
Our allies
Wow, that's not great. You
That's
want
rough.
to see that up.
Yeah. Think of how much more Good would have done if they had the pushing power, just that extra mass and that extra siege damage from the trebuchets.
Well, it
Shard
also
does go
makes
down. I don't
evil-
think oh wait,
Oh, does
Shard
it
not
go
quite
down?
down. What?
They need
Okay,
to
we go,
pop
we
that.
go.
There it goes. Okay.
Shard does go down. Did Exodus get the gas off in time? Let's check. They are heroes, so he did get the gas off in time.
allies' base is under attack.
But there were a lot of opportunities for Evil to actually finish off those hobbits. Like, we saw that focus on Lossoff earlier. If he targeted down the hobbits instead of Lossoff, I think the hobbits would have died. So,
Yeah, it's hard to click on them, and like Lossoff, since he has a nameplate, people tend to just go for the hero with the nameplate, right? Even if
looks
it's like
LoTR
just
is going to
really
get
wrong.
doved on by Toby. No,
Oh, that's
again,
a dangerous.
the focus
That's a
on Durham.
much more dangerous. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
much more dangerous dive than the others.
Yeah,
Swan
these
is
cannons
like
are packed tightly, but
much
again,
tankier.
Onichan just focuses Durin, and Durin has his shield up, so he is going to run away from that with HP. I think Toby's actually timing his dives with Durin's shield off CD.
Our allies are being attacked.
He actually might be.
Because, like, otherwise, Durin would have died 3 times over.
Base is under attack. Our
Wow, this is. I think Good is winning just because Evil hasn't done a lot recently. But you just like. This game is so bizarre. It's so hard to get a read on it.
It's so bizarre. Like, I'd assume that Good's winning here. But
Oh,
at the
but there's
same time,
Graham.
losing so much. Graham's dead, so at the very least,
They are
got
just
that.
killing spawns, and Evil is just
Yeah.
not killing spawns.
Yeah,
right?
Evil's
And
just
that's the
not killing
fundamental
spawns.
thing.
They've just been, like, stalemated.
They're not like, oh, Khan too.
Yeah, 2 heroes have died on this hill.
under attack.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I don't think Oni-chan pushing Exodus here was the
No.
right move. Like, at the end of the day, there's not much mass here. He could have gotten so much more work done pushing,
Our allies
like,
are being attacked.
Miflond or Shire or Elasterion. Or even
Yeah,
just
Evil is
finishing
just-
off
Evil is
Lambadon
just
and forcing
defending.
Gunna to defend his last spawn. That isn't in the north.
Oh, now they're
And it
going
looks
Gundam
like
Moons
Toby's-
here. Why are you diving
Toby,
this
okay,
low?
he does
There's
lose
no way
Durin
he
at the
gets
very
this.
least. There is a punish, but
Oh, is he gonna get
the
this?
dive is... Creeper goes down. Okay, so 2 heroes for Mount Gundabed. At this stage
I
in the
guess you
game,
do
I
gotta
think
be
that's worth.
trained
I think that's
too
worth
for
for good.
Oh, for sure. No, that's like yeah.
That's pretty much game,
That's
yeah.
what he says.
Because
You could
Evil
trade your
has no
entire
mass
health all
left,
for
so
Gunda, and I think
that's pretty
full win.
worth. And it looks like
Everything
despite
for Gunda's
the almost full
Morg?
surround for this, Exodus still manages to just not lose heroes. He actually gets
Oh,
Morgamir as well.
Morgamir.
Exodus is built different. He has like plot armor.
Exodus just like does not care about any of this. He's just
Yeah.
flying right into them. He's like, okay,
Yeah,
you
like
don't have
being
anything
attacked
to
from 2
hit me
sides
with.
still manages to not lose any heroes.
Look
Despite
at the,
like
look at the
running
heroes
for the
here.
front.
It's
of
only
Evan
Witch
as
King
well.
and Arduna now. It's like there's so little actual AA and like just raw damage. Of course, they still
Carping DR saves Carping's life, by the way. He probably would have died if not for that. And
that's like
Witch
Witch
King
King.
gets
Witch King's
flanked
dead.
by Toby and he goes down. Our Fidane Special Transport does go down at the very least, but I think that's
You
game
might see a
for Evil.
GG
Evil has
soon.
nothing left. Ettenmore's stores go down, I guess. Ettenmore's Barrow Downs is already dead, actually. We have Rudar dead. We have Coldfells left. Garla goes down near Fornos. So Fornos, Ettenmore's, Coldfells is the... And Last Bridge for Evil. Those are the last 4 spawns. Unless Wilmer can get some insane damage in this time, I think that's it. That is it for Evil. Toby says mass OP. Imagine if we got Mithril out in this game. Also, what has Toby actually...
Under attack.
Oh, wait, no. Toby buying his second R probably allowed him to get that flank on Witch King. Which
I think they
ended the
can
game.
still
Although,
get a Metro.
I think
They
the game
have
was
earner
ended
life
beforehand.
with they could go. What's it? Home Steep.
Helm's Deep, yeah, even with Durin dead. Although, I mean, like, just buying him a while ago. Or buying a Mithril spawn, I mean. Okay, it looks like Adderhill is going to go down here to Uvafa attacking while moving. But Uvafa is going to get focused down, and Framp almost dies there, 276 HP as opposed to 330 on Uvafa. So pretty nice hero pickup from Wilmer there, but he's just kind of drawing out the game, extending the inevitable. Furnos is being gassed at the very least for Hex. He has Agandar and Jinder left, but he's basically backed into a corner here. Citadel can be bought by Agandar, buying Evil a little bit more time, but I think the play here might be just to get Wilmer something to gas. But I don't think there's anything for them to gas. Merc is still alive. Like, Merc is alive. Brogash, Koros has already been bought. I don't think there's any buys in terms of bases for Wilmer here.
Yeah, they're just in trouble. I think they're just kind of letting it sink in at this point.
Yeah.
I guess Aduna is still around. He's just enjoying himself now.
Yeah.
For this fight, this was very well played by Good though. You know, this was not an easy game state to know what to do in.
Yeah.
And I think they just took it very, very patiently. They recognized that they just needed to kill the bases, kill the main bases, and then Evil will just run out of steam. Kill the Arbs, they can't rotate, they can't push you, and you will win eventually. So very well played by them. I think they approached this very respectably and very impressive. And there's a reason that they're going to be going into the winners match, I think, if this game goes the way we think it is.
Yeah.
For the finals.
I mean, Wilmer still has a lot of strength in him, so if he manages to, like, hero wipe Toby, that's still maybe, possibly, enough left in him to carry out the game. And Morris is
yeah, to play on, maybe. That's just every
does
ball
go
of theirs
down.
is just all
Explosive getting a lot of value in as a terrorist faction, by the way. He's been on
Yeah,
only one
yeah, he plays-
hero for quite a while, but he's gotten a lot of work in.
One faction or one hero, Cardlin, when that one hero is Minoglar, is actually quite good. I think
Yeah.
as many people have experienced before. As long as you have Minoglar, you can do stuff.
Yep. Furnos is dead, so I think it's just Coldfell, Zet, and Moore's left. Okay, Gunnet does lose his ARB here. It looks like the one he stashed here did get found by Kex and eliminated. I don't know why he stashed it there, considering that Gunnet is already dead and Amar planes. But maybe
Yeah,
he was
I'm a
going
little
for
curious.
a flank on Moore's.
Our allies are being attacked.
They're
Exodus
just killing
still
random
doing a lot of
turrets.
damage here.
Is he going for the ARB? What's he doing there?
Our allies' base is under
Maybe actually. The
Yeah,
ARB
it
is half
does.
HP. Oh, was he going for arrows there? 400 HP. That's within arrow range.
He might
It
have.
looks like
That's
he's
very
going for
funny.
Gladden, so that's going to eliminate all of the northern western Gondor gases.
Our allies' base is under attack.
Yeah, this is
Some
just
work.
tough.
This is 2 hero on each hand, I believe. Plenty of chase in that ball. Uvafa might be getting targeted here. He's very low, and it looks like Wilmer does not want to take that risk. Recalls out. I think Evil's playing it for the throws here. If Good manages to lose something big,
Being attacked.
then they will be able to bring this game back with just Wilmer so strong.
Yeah, for sure. Now they do have car, so you know they can carry.
Hey, also Carr, like, come on.
Yeah, JMS is saying that the play
Alex,
here
this
is to
is
go
already done. Just take it
Kalendron
out.
into Belkoff into Sharku. Or just right into Sharku.
Yeah, how much
Right.
money does Evil have? I should have
That's the
implemented a money
question.
tracker. That would be actually pretty useful as well.
I have to think that they're not exactly rich. They're spending all their money on buying new arms.
Oh yeah, I just saw a
Kyron's
medic
into
buy
him.
on Goldfells.
Yeah, they're just buying-
Troll goes down, outer
Yeah.
cam's going down. Toby with his Nandoran stack just kind of going for the slow pushes at this point. They're not taking a lot of risk going for risky dives anymore.
Yeah, I think this is...
Ram might be going down here. Nope. Okay. 244 HP. The Snow Troll cross map takes out 40, but not enough. Bait trust, he says. How much we all got? 6.6. Fun missed all. 250 for mountains. 6k, so I can mass.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like
It's only gonna
Exodus
get- it's
is
only
going
gonna
to
get
go
worse.
for a retreat for the mountains. You do not see this base very often at all.
Especially for Exo. Exo never has to buy that. Normally wins his matchup so hard that he doesn't ever have the opportunity.
Yep. Meanwhile, Wilmer, it looks like Wilmer is Evil's last hope, and they're full funding Wilmer as well. If he can get Throwby to do a signature Throwby move, he might be able to
Oh,
get
look at this
something.
flank.
The medic, he's going for medics instead of actual heroes.
He almost loses Kelly.
He's not
for
going to
that.
be punished for it. Wait, is he going to be punished for it? No, he's not. There's no
Yeah.
way. That's a rip. And they drop right here on top of them as well. But Wilmer's here immediately to get a bunch of damage in while they are unprepared. EM med down, mentally destroyed. I just saw him rebuy a medic like 3 minutes ago, so that must really sting.
Yeah, it's possible it was mentally destroyed.
Kex just 1v1ing Exodus and managing to stall long enough for the Evil in the east to do something, but I don't know if that something is going to be enough. Ranger encampment at max, I believe it spawns 7 per cycle plus the 2 starting mass, so it's 9 mass per cycle. So that gives Exodus a bit of stuff to work with in the late game. Great Eagles coming out for Gunnet, a very strong mass unit. Kex says that he can get Citadel of Illuminas. I'm not really sure if that's the play here, considering it's super vulnerable. That dies to just 1 Toby dive. Meanwhile, 2 cents. What is he referring to here? They don't fly. What doesn't fly? Wilmer actually funds for the Citadel. Let's see how long this lasts, I suppose. It looks like Kex is moving base from the ruins of Barrow Downs to the Citadel. Maybe to push down Erluin, but this is actually pretty difficult to push if you're low resource.
They're low resource, but they're gaining more resources, right? So
I mean,
it's
there's
not
not
gonna
enough
get
heroes
easier.
to push it. Like 2 heroes to push that, especially if Exodus ends up defending it. I don't know.
Our allies are being
And Citadel takes a while to ramp up, even if it does have rapid development. Toby says OP, 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 OP. Let's see if that's actually true. Edinburgh's has not actually had a lot of progress made on it. Good is not going in from the top. Maybe because Gunnet lost the second ARB. And again, is the play here instead of Guai here to go for ARBs? I'm not actually sure.
I think whatever you do here, you win ultimately.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just what's more optimal. I think they're all fine.
Yeah.
This is just a slow grind to kill everything, and then until Evil basically realizes it's over.
Yeah.
I think.
Evil's, like, Good is not making as much progress as quickly as you'd think. So the longer this game goes on, the higher the chance that somebody on Good froze and gives Evil an opening. But like, Toby has been pretty good about keeping his that there's Agandar gone. Kex even more sad. And he's on only Ginger now. Exo should be able to just straight up 1v1 and kill him now. Thranduil again being focused, but Thranduil has been focused so much this game that I have to believe that Toby is super used to it and is ready to just preemptively swap targets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Eleanor
surprised.
actually goes down. Looks like he was
unlucky.
being blocked by Thranduil. Interesting play there, and Ginger might be able to chase him down. Is he? 123 HP, not quite enough. That was a play, but Agandar did get killed earlier, so that was like kind of a delayed trade, arguably, and he did get 2 heroes for it. So you know, mental damage wins. Wilmer losing all of his mass cover in this fight with Western Gondor. Managlar does expose himself a little bit, but not quite enough to... Actually, no, he might be going down here. Not quite. And Card actually dies to the cannons, going in for the greedy chase. Lamedon finally max. We can see Trebuchets coming up into the north. And even though Eagle's Eerie might be going down, Citadel is surely going to die soon. There's no way it doesn't. Kex is trapped. He has no ARB and no medics to heal Jinder. So once Citadel goes down, Jinder is going to go with him, and that's going to be Kex out of the game. And it looks like what little chance there was of a comeback is going down the drain here for Evil. Hobbits have been pretty highly leveled, 1,200 HP, kind of respectable. Jinder does go down here. Interestingly enough, though, Toby's only on 1 hero now, I think. Yeah. EU taps out, and that's it.
Teams. Well played.
GG. Well played, well played. The EU team has been eliminated. The second game of the winners bracket semifinals has gone to the Throwby team.